Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Today, I want to share some information with you about this Stabila brand new laser they just came out with. It's called the LAX500G. All right, it's a green laser and it does XYZ. So it does a horizontal, a vertical plane, and then it also will shoot a laser dot straight up. So you can do point measurements from your ceiling all the way to your, I think, to the floor, but we'll find out. Like, we're gonna open this thing up and really test it out. So it comes in a kit, comes in a black plastic hard case, and inside the case, there's a charger, a battery, the laser level. There's a green indicator that you can set up with a little tripod. It also has a magnetic function on it that really shines up nice. It's kind of a dark day where I'm at, so I don't think we're gonna even need that today. I think it's gonna show up just fine in this space that we're in. Then there's a wall clip that has a micro adjustment on it so that you can tighten this up and then you can raise and lower it just a little bit with this dial. This also can clip onto a flat metal surface, and then you can mount the laser here. There's also a magnetic back to the laser here, so you can stick it to any magnetic surface. Yeah, that just sticks right to that, like so. So there's a couple different ways that you can use the mounting techniques for this laser. I actually have it on a tripod because most of the time that's how I use it, is I'll put it on, and I'm just using one of my camera tripods. This has a 1/4 inch shoe on the bottom of it. And there's also a sliding base as well in case you need to move it right and left or forward and backwards or something like that. You can use this as a base plate and then slide the laser on this track that's on here. So that's what comes in the kit. It also will use a receiver if you have a green laser receiver from Stabila. I do have one. It's not here today, but there is that function as well. So on brighter days, sunnier days, if you can't see what's going on, you can always activate that receiver, which we do a lot with our red lasers all the time. But I'm kind of surprised at how bright this is. So there's a locking mechanism. You slide that open, and then you spin this around. And you can, there's like a 90-degree click right there. So you can turn it like that, or you can turn it 180, and then it's ready to go. There's an on-off switch right here. So I'm gonna flip this on, and you can see that the horizontal line, which is the one I'm gonna use most of the time, is ready to go. So I can see it. I'm gonna turn this a little bit this way. And basically, this thing has a pendulum on the inside of the laser, so it auto levels itself all the time. It just, like, you can bump this, and if you can see the laser on that post over there, and if I bump this, you can see it, I bumped it, oop, but then it just goes right back into level. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see it, but see that far line over there? I can see it from here, which on a red laser during the day, usually it's hard to see. So I want to see how accurate these guys were that built this house. I have to go get my tape measure really quick, but I want to see measurement-wise how close we are for elevation. This is what I use these kind of lasers for mostly, is getting things plumb. And when I'm ready to cut my post down for my deck, which usually is a daunting task if you don't have one of these, but if you have one of these, this thing puts you in perfect plumb for the height of your beams. So if you have multiple posts, like you see here, you can cut them to the specific height, or measure off this line, measure up, get a cut point that you want, and then measure up that distance from the line, and you would be able to cut all your posts at the same height, which speeds things up, and it's very accurate. I started using these maybe 7 years ago. Ever since I've done that, I haven't gone back, because once you learn to trust the laser, which is the hardest part, like if you're not used to using one of these, you got to trust the technology that's going to put you on the money. You might double or triple check some things for a few times until you get the hang of it. Once you have the hang of it, it becomes a really valuable tool in your arsenal. Let me go grab a tape measure and we will check these lines really quick. Okay, so just so you guys know, I have a bubble vial on my tripod you can't see. And it's looking pretty good. It's within the center of the bubble vial. And then there's another level bubble right here. So I've leveled those out pretty close. You can be off a certain amount and this will still work. But if you're off too much, it's gonna start blinking, okay? So I'm too far out of level. It's not gonna, it's telling me right now, hey man, bring it back, doctor. So now I'm back into level, now it's not blinking anymore. So that's how you know if you're within tolerance of this device, is by making sure that your base that you're putting this on is fairly level. Now I've used bricks, I've used these cases before, I've used buckets, I've used rocks and pure blocks, I've used all kinds of stuff to, like maybe the level line I'm trying to get is really low to the ground. So the tripod may not work. So I'm just stacking up whatever I need and shims and whatever else. As long as this thing's not blinking, I'm good to go and nobody bumps it. That's probably the biggest thing about lasers, is somebody coming by and bumping this and knocking it out of plumb or something like that. So at least if we know that it's blinking, we know that it needs to be adjusted. Okay, so I'm happy with where this is sitting. Let's just go see. This really wasn't part of my plan on this video to do this, but the curiosity's killing me, man, because I'm building this deck on this 45-year-old home, and I want to know how accurate they were when they drove these piles into the ground and then built a house on top of it. Obviously, you can see over here, they drove some of the piles too low because they had to put a block in to elevate. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna measure from the bottom of the beam right here, and I'm at 38.25, right to the center of the laser, okay? So 38.25 over here. We got to go to the bottom of the beam right there. I'm 38 and 3/16, we'll call it. So I'm only off a 1/16 of an inch. I'm somewhere in there, 38 1/8 to 38 and 3/16. So I'd say a 1/16 off in 12 feet. And then you can, it's a little bit fainter line, but you can still see this line over here, which for any laser, in my opinion, outside is pretty good for you to be able to see this line. So let's see what we are right here. We're 38 and 3/8, and it's windy out today. So you can see how the wind is affecting the laser right now, moving it up and down a little bit. So now we're at 38.5. So we're off, I'd say an 1/8 inch. I go 38 and 3/8. So that's not too bad. To be only an 1/8 inch off and 24 feet, when you're probably using some kind of a chainsaw or something to cut these down with. I don't know what they used back then, but you know, I'd say that's within spec. So let's go check out the rest of the features on this laser. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this around so you guys can see it. So basically, oh, now we're out of level. Okay, she doesn't like it. So let's make an adjustment. There we go. You can see around on my jacket, we still have our one line going this way. And then if we hit this function button, now we're doing a vertical line. And when it throws a vertical line, it's throwing it all the way up on the ceiling, and you can see the dot. That dot is coming right out of the center of this laser, okay? So if you're lining up tile or something, or let's just say you wanna line up this plywood, or you wanna line it up on the floor joist, you can actually, it'll cast the line all the way down the beam and up the back side of it, all the way over to there. It can show you, like, you could square this up to the house and you could have a straight line all the way. And then I can lock this down with my tripod, and then I can keep this line nice and straight. Okay, so now it's locked down, so now it really won't move. I can still move it a little bit, but it's staying within spec, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's my vertical line, right? Okay, I don't wanna blind myself here. So I think you can actually throw in both. So now I've got my horizontal and my vertical line and my dot on top. And okay, so this is what I was curious about. I didn't want to misquote you guys, but there's actually a dot on the bottom as well, on the floor, or on the ground in our instance, right by my foot. So that laser dot there, it'll shoot, I think for bathroom tile layouts and things like that, this is where it becomes really important. Or if I wanted my decking on my deck to match the ceiling or vice versa, then at least I could find a reference point to where I would start, all by using this one device and turning on the right functions. So I have a dot on the ground, a dot on the ceiling, and then I have a horizontal and a vertical line where I could start my tile going this way and going this way, and then work away from that so that you have a perfect layout. And then over here you have your receiver. So if you're gonna use a green laser receiver, you gotta tell it that you're doing that. And then when this little indicator light comes on, now it's ready to receive your green laser receiver, which I don't have today, but I don't really need it because I can see everything. But if you were in a bright environment, you turn that on and then it'll pick up, the receiver will pick up on this device as well. All right, so let's say I'm done for the day. You basically have the off switch right here. So, which also when you shut this, when you put this and lock it, it slides the switch off. So there's a couple of different ways to turn the device off. If you have it set up and you're not done with it, now it's on. If I'm going to lunch and I want to preserve the battery, I can just slide the switch off right here to off, go to lunch, come back, turn it back on, and I still have my setting. But if I'm going for portability, I'm putting it away in the case and all that, then I'm just gonna turn it like this and lock it, and that locks it in place. And then basically the case, you pull this off. Now I just have a little tripod mount here that I would take off, and we'll show you guys that. So this, let's see, it has a 1/4 inch setting, but inside the case, you cannot leave the battery mounted to the device. It has to be taken apart separately so that you can transport it properly, okay? So this goes back in like this, okay? And then you lock the case and off you go. There is one more thing though that I'm curious about, is this sliding mechanism. So I suppose if you're just putting this on whatever surface, oh, here we go, there's a little track so that you can lock this on here. And then if you needed to, you could slide this a little bit if you have it mounted to something or whatever. I actually really don't understand what this is for. Any of you out there, help me out here. Maybe for an elevation block, I could see that. Like if you just needed an inch. Okay, I get it. I could see that. But I don't know about the slidability part. I'm still scratching my head on that one. But I'm sure there's an answer that I'm not thinking of or I don't know about. So it's probably good for certain trades. That is my review of this LAX500G. I think I would use this laser mostly in dark environments or indoors, or in a really low level situation where I can't get my standard lasers in. I really like the LAX350. It's a red laser. This green one's pretty bright though, so you might consider that. Oh, and the retail on it's only about $450 compared to, you know, $2,500 for an LAX350. So as far as being budget conscious, definitely a win where you can get a quality laser at more of an entry level price. So that's something to definitely consider, because Stabila high quality. I actually haven't had to retire any of my lasers yet from Stabila. They all still work really well. They're all still calibrated perfectly. Great product and a great brand. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.